Alright guys, so it's that time again, another AliExpress sale, and as always seems to be the case with these, I'm in work unfortunately, so I'm having to do a video in work, so apologies for the audio. So if you're not aware how these work, you can use coupons to get discounts on these to get them even better prices that they're currently on. So if I click on this, and you'll have some discounts coming up, well discount codes coming up at the top. Depending on how much you spend, you'll get a certain amount off. And these are going to vary country to country. I actually did a community post about this a while back. If you haven't seen that, check that one out. But they should all be on here, specific to whatever country you're in. And they do vary quite a bit, so you can get some really good discounts. But let's get down into this. So I'm going to have a mixture of watches that you've probably seen before, that are just really good prices, and some also newer ones, which you probably haven't seen, or hopefully haven't seen as much. Again, with some pretty good prices. So we'll get right down into it. So first up, we've got the Addiesdive tuner homage. Doesn't get as much love as the Willowed homage, but I think these are really good. I don't think I've got this one myself. I think I've got the Steeldive version, but they are basically the same. So for £41, I think it's pretty much a no-brainer. If you haven't already got one of these, I definitely recommend getting one, because you're getting 300 meter water resistance, steel bracelet. You're also getting sapphire crystal, NH35, and again, for that price, you can't really go wrong. So as I say, if you don't already have one, you definitely want to pick one of these up. Next up, we've got another Addiesdive, and this one is also a crazy one. I do actually have this one, done a review of that. I'll leave links to the reviews if I've actually reviewed these down in the description, along with the links to all the watches. So £47 for a 1000 meter diver. That's just ridiculously good value. So when it comes to the specs, we'll get a zoom in a bit. Got NH35 again, got sapphire crystal. It's actually quite a large case, but the lug to lug means that it wears better than that would suggest. Got really good lume as well. We've also got the helium escape valve on there as well, which you'd expect with it being a 1000 meter diver. And a few different colour options. So again, I definitely recommend this one. So next up we've got this Cadisen. That's coming in at really good, less than £45 for, again, stainless steel bracelet. Fairly sure it's got sapphire crystal, if I remember correctly. Let's have a look. NH35. Yeah, sapphire crystal. Looks like they've recently changed the yeah, okay, that's a bit odd. They've gone from a micro adjust one to something which has got slightly less micro adjust by the look of it maybe. And then a diver's extension. Bit of an odd decision. And it appears you can get it on a bracelet or on a strap. But again, you definitely want to go for the bracelet. You can always get a cheap strap afterwards. So next, we've got this Baltany. So you might think you've seen this one before. I have actually reviewed the automatic version of this, but this is actually the quartz version. I do actually have this in for review at the moment. I just haven't had a chance to get the review done in time for the sale, but I thought I'd mention it in this. So it is slightly different. So in terms of specs, we've got the VD78, that's a mecha quartz movement, so you get that almost smooth sweep of the second hand. You've got a sapphire crystal, and you got that nice thin case. With it being quartz, they've got it down, so it's 9.1mm. So really nice dimensions, and it's just an unusual design. It's definitely something a bit different. And again, a few different colours, and the straps on these are actually surprisingly good as well. Not your usual cheap straps. So again, I definitely recommend this if you don't want to go for the automatic. The quartz is definitely a good option. And again, as I say, I will try and get that full review done soon, but obviously it's going to be after the sale. Next, we've got this Watchdives. So this is the WD16500. This is another one I've got in for review at the moment. Just haven't had a chance to get done, and it is pretty damn nice. So we've got the VK63 movement. It's fairly similar to a few other brands that you might have seen doing this watch, but in my opinion, this is the best one I've checked out in terms of the quality overall. So you got the usual stuff. You've got the sapphire crystal, as I say, the VK63, 100 meter water resistance. We've actually got BGW9 lume on it as well, on the bezel and on the hands, and I think the indices as well. I haven't actually checked it out fully. We've also got the glide lock style clasp. So that is a nice bonus, which is just all these little touches, lume and the clasp, just take it to the next level above some of the other options with these kind of homages. If I was going to change one thing, I'd probably have a fully brushed bracelet, personally. But other than that, I think it's a cracking piece. And you can see the finishing is really nice. Does it have a picture of that clasp? Oh, it's got a picture of the lume though. So, as I said, fully lumed. Pretty unusual for this kind of style of watch. So again, for that kind of price, I think you're getting quite a lot. Next, we've got another Watchdives, and this is another one I've got in for review at the moment. Again, a little bit more expensive than the last one, but not by much. And this is actually titanium as well. So for that price, getting a titanium watch, I think it's an absolute bargain, and it is really nicely finished. So gonna zoom in on the specs. As I said, titanium, got the 120 click bezel, BGW9, all the usual good stuff. And it's got a really nice mesh strap as well. And the clasp on it is actually quite good. Hopefully it'll show pictures of that. A little bit further down. Come on. You can see the detailing on the finishing, really nicely done. And pretty good loom too. Ah, there we go. So pretty similar to the one it's homaging. Not always the case when you get these homages. So I do appreciate that. Does look good, works well. It appears depending on which one you go for, you'll have different coloured loom. So I'm assuming that's the loom for this one. And it is nice that we've got the colour match date window on whichever model you go for. Again, it's the little attention to detail. So next. So I think I might have featured this Rudland on a different AliExpress sale video a while back, but the reason I've got this in here again is because of that price. So I'm probably going to pick one of these up myself during this sale. I'm going to be getting the red dial version. Well, I'm calling it red. Don't know if they call it red or brown. What do they call it? Yeah, brown. But I just think it looks really good. That antique kind of vintage look to it. Really liking that. I think it goes really well with that strap as well. And the loom looks pretty impressive. And I like that they've got the matching bezel colour with the dial as well, depending on which one you go for. Only slight downside, doesn't look like we've got sapphire, which is a bit of a shame. So it obviously isn't hard legs, it's going to be just mineral crystal. But again, I just think it's a really good looking piece, so I can deal with that. So next, we've got a few new watches here. First up, we've got this San Martin. Some really interesting colours with this one. I'm personally quite liking that one myself, that mint green. Also, if you want something a bit more summery, you've got that light blue or the orange. So we've got BGWX1, so you know the loom on that is going to be really good, with it being San Martin. And depending on which colour dial you go for, you might get different colour loom. So in terms of the specs, there we go, there's the measurements. So a nice compact lug to lug, NH35. Do like that they have the colour match date wheel, depending on which dial colour you go for. It's a nice little touch, not always a given, quite uncommon with AliExpress watches. So I do appreciate that. And I just think they look really funky. Something a little bit different, not your usual blacks, whites when it comes to dials. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it? Brightens things up a bit. So we've got another San Martin next. And again, this is another one which has got some interesting dial options. Get a scroll down. You can see we've got a purple and a green. I think they're the only two options. Yeah, so you might not be able to see it on this picture, but hopefully they'll have a close-up. So I'm really liking like the gradient on these. So that purple sunset. And then the green one, like the Aurora Borealis. And again, it's a gradient dial. I think they're really smart looking. Ah, there we go. There's a better version of the dial. You can see that detailing. And the finishing on this looks fantastic. They are right up there in my opinion, able to compete with a lot of micro brands and some of the big brands as well. And there's the green one. I think if I was choosing between the two, I'd probably go with the purple. Let me know which one you'd be going for down in the comments. So here's the specs. So we've got the NH34, nice compact lug to lug, BGWX1 again, 100 meter water resistance. I'm assuming it's going to have the on the fly adjustable clasp. San Martin put on a lot of their watches now. Is there any mention of it? Yeah, the on the fly adjustable clasp. There's a close up of the finishing on there. As I say, really impressive with San Martins. So hopefully there's some interesting ones here, a mixture, as I say, of ones you might have seen before, just at really great prices, and some new ones that you probably haven't seen. And obviously, as I say, some of which I'm going to be reviewing soon. So make sure you subscribe for that. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.